Good afternoon everyone. I am Salma Begum, CS Department, TBS IT, Kavali. Today I am going to discuss about the design pattern subject, Unit 5. Topic is chain of responsibility. So this topic, chain of responsibility, comes under the behavioral design pattern. So in this design pattern we have different classifications. First classification is intent. Intent is nothing but it tells the meaning of the design pattern, and it also specify the problem and provide the solution for the problem in this design pattern. Now if we talk about the chain of responsibility, in this we have a small definition. That definition is given into the intent. So if you see the definition here, see this is avoid coupling the sender of a request to its receiver by giving more than one receiver object a chance to handle the request, chain the receiving object and pass the request along the chain until an object handles it. It means in the chain of responsibility design pattern, generally each receiver has reference of the another receiver and so on. If the receiver get any request, that request doesn't handle the receiver one, it passes to the next receiver the same data, whatever SON data or request, whatever came from the receiver one, that receiver take that receiver request, and if the receiver doesn't have capacity to handle that will be passes to the same request to the another receiver and so on. So this like the communication will be occur in the chain of responsibility. If we see the diagram, we can understand neatly by learning this diagram. Coming to the diagram, I am having the system here, client. This client responsibility is to provide the request. Responsibility is to provide the request. Here I am having the chain of receivers. In this chain of receivers, we have a group of receivers. Receiver 1, receiver 2, receiver 3 and receiver n. So these receivers are chained together. These receivers are chained together. And if the receiver 1 has reference of the receiver 2 and receiver 2 has reference of receiver 3 and receiver 3 has reference of receiver n. It's like so on. Every receiver has the reference of the another receiver. So this like they all are chained together. Okay. Now here the client will provide the request to the receiver 1. After receiving the request by receiver 1, whatever the processing, if this receiver will be checked whether he have capacity to handle the request or not. After, if he have capacity to handle that request, whatever the processing will be have, that can be occurred here. After processing will be completed, again the receiver 1 will be checked whether further processing is necessary or not. If the further processing is necessary, then the request is send the receiver 1 to receiver 2. Okay. Again the receiver 2 receives the request. He checks whether he have capacity to handle that request or not. If he have capacity to handle that request, he will be do the processing whatever he need. After processing will be completed, the receiver 2 again check whether further processing is necessary or not. If further processor is necessary, the request will be passed to the receiver 3. Okay. If processing is not necessary, further processor is not necessary, the communication will be stop at the receiver 2. This like the communication will be occur. Whatever the request we are sending from one receiver to another receiver depends on the reference. So receiver 1 has the reference of the reference 2. Depending on that, we are passing the request to the receiver 2. Receiver 2 has the reference of receiver 3. On the reference of that, we are sending the request to the receiver 3. This like the chain will be there between the receivers. Depending on that reference, we are passing the request to each other. This like the communication will be occur in this chain of responsibility. Next, coming to the motivation. In this motivation, I have small diagram. Next, coming to the motivation. In this motivation, I am having small diagram. So this is the diagram. So in this diagram, I am having the help handler. Help handler acts as a parent class. It is a parent class, and it also acts as a abstract class. Because help handler is nothing but parent class, and it also acts as an interface, and you can also say it is a abstract class. So in this we are having application, dialog and button. These are the different subclasses we are having. So these subclasses responsibility is to take the handler request, handler operation to handle the request. So whatever the request came from the handler, in order to solve that request, they take the operations from the help handler. Okay, that is called the application, dialog and button acts like that. So if we talk about the help handler operation forwards their request to the successor. It is nothing but, handler is nothing but here successor. Okay, the whatever the handler we are having, that handler responsibility is to forward their operation through the through its request to the successor by default. It means here working operation will be occur. First, this is the handler. This acts as an interface. This handler takes the request, and this request is passes to the widget, and widget passes to these to application, dialog and button. Okay, so whatever the request came from the handler, they will pass to this widget, and widget pass the request to this application, dialog and button. So in order to perform that request, in order to fulfill that request, they will take the operations from the help handler. Okay, so like that communication will be occur in the motivation. Next classification is called applicability. Why we are using applicability means when in which situation we are going to apply this chain of responsibility. That is mean by applicability. In this applicability, more than one object can handle the request. More than one object can handle the request. And in this, you want to issue a request to one of several objects. You want to issue a request to one of several objects without specifying to the receiver. So this is called the applicability. So in this applicability, the user will generally provide one sender or one receiver, but in chain of responsibility it provides the one sender and multiple receivers. So the receiver's main responsibility is that, so one of the receiver or one or more of the receivers can handle the request. That is called the applicability. Next, coming to the structure, we have the another classification that is called structure. In this structure, we are having a small diagram. So in this diagram, we are going to use handler here. Handler. Depending on this motivation, we will take the structure here. We are having the handler. In this, we are having the handle request. And in this, whatever we are using, this is called the parent class, and you can also say it is an abstract class. It also acts as an interface. Whatever the request came from the client, the request is handled by this handler. This handler is nothing but abstract class or interface. Handler as is nothing but receiver. We can also say it is a receiver. So in this we are having the method. Handle request is called a method of the handler request method. Okay, and here we are having the concrete handler 1 and concrete handler 2. These two are the subclasses of the class. Okay, these are the child classes. This is the parent class and this is the child class. Okay, and in this child class, whatever the concrete handler 1 and concrete handler 2 we are having, these two will be inherits the method from the handler. So these two concrete handlers responsibility is to inherits the methods from the handler. That is called the concrete handler 1 and concrete handler 2. Okay, and this is the successor. Why we are using successor? We already mentioned here in this motivation. So once the handler take the request from the client's request is sent to the handler will send the request to the concrete handler 1 and concrete handler 1. The concrete handler 1, when it receives the request, it checks whether we have capacity to handle that request or not. If we have capacity to handle that request, he will send that request. He will send after completion of that operation, he will send the request again to the handler, and the default we have provided the successor. That request again passes to the handler, concrete handler 2. The concrete handler check has capacity to handle the request or not. After completing the request, if you have capacity to handle the request, he will send the again we have another concrete handler. It will passes to the another concrete handler. This like if the further processing is not necessary, the communication will be stopped here. This like the communication will be occurring this. So if you talk about the typical structure of this chain of responsibility, we having another diagram. We will show in that how the communication will be occurring this. Next, coming to the typical object structure look like this. So in previous I have drawn the diagram that is called the structure. In this structure, whatever we are using the handler, concrete handler 1 and concrete handler 2, and those two handlers, concrete handler 1 and concrete handler 2, will be take and inherits the operations or methods from the handler from abstract class. So if we see a typical, if we see the working of that structure, we have a typical object structure look like this. Here I have a client. Client will be provide the request to the handler. The handler will be send that request to the concrete handler. So after taking the request from the handler, the concrete handler will take the request from the handler. Whatever the method or operations will be available in this handler, that will be inherited by the concrete handle. After completing whatever the this concrete handle will be check whether we have capacity to handle that request or not. If we have capacity to handle that request, after completing the request, we will provide default successor link. So the default will send that request to the successor, and successor again will send the request to the concrete handler. This concrete handler will be check we have capacity to handle the request. If we have capacity to handle that, whatever the processing will be have, that will be occur here. After occurring that, it will be send the defaultly the request passes to the successor. If the processing will be completed, if further processing is necessary, that will be sent to the successor. The successor will send to the another concrete hand. This like all the receivers are in chain together, so that the request will be passes from 1 to 1. So that is, if the successor, if the processing is necessary, it will be passes. If processing is not necessary, if the processing will be stopped here. So this like the communication will be occurring in the typical object. So coming to the participants. So who are the participants in the structure? We have the handler. Handler is nothing but receiver. Handlers in the handler, we have the help handler. Handler is defined as an interface, and whatever the request came from the client, that will be passes to the concrete subclasses. So that acts as a interface, and whatever the request taken from the client, that will be passes to the subclasses, and it also implements the successorily. It also implements the successorily. Coming to the concrete handler. Concrete handler is nothing but print button, print dialog. These are the two things we have. So in this concrete handler responsibility is to handle the request, and they are taken the methods of the handler. They takes the methods of the methods or operations from the handler. That is the responsibility of this concrete handler, and this concrete handler can handle the request, otherwise it forward to the another concrete handler. That is for the concrete handler. Next, coming to the client. Client responsibility is to initiate the request to a concrete handler object to the chain. That is for the client. Next, coming to the sequence diagram. In this, we are having the sequence diagram of the chain of responsibility. If you have the sequence diagram, client first in chain, handler is nothing but receiver 1, and second in chain handler is nothing but receiver 2, we can say. So client will provide the request to the handler. The handler will be take that request. After taking the request, it will check whether he have to have capacity to handle that request or not. If after checking that whatever the processing will be have, that can be done here, and after that we check whether further processing is necessary. If necessary, that will be send the request handle request to the second in chain handler receiver 2, and it will also same processing will be done. If further processing is necessary, it passes to the other. If further processing is not necessary, that processing will be stopped here. This like the communication will be stopped here. This is called the sequence diagram of this chain of responsibility. Next, coming to the collaboration. Collaboration is nothing but it tells the it shows the relationship between the classes and objects. So that is called the collaboration. We having the real-time example in this chain of responsibility. If you see the real-time example, in this real-time example, we have small diagram. Real-time example, I have one client here. So he is a quiz master. Okay, he is a quiz master. I am having the number of students here. Receiver, student, John, student, David, so on. So these are chained together. Okay. So this is the quiz master we are having. So if the this is the real time example what we have talked before that motivation diagram. In this we having one client. That client is nothing but quiz master. The quiz master responsibility is to provide the question to these students. So the quiz master ask one question to the first receiver, that is called John. The receiver will take that question, that request, and if he answered that question, if he have answered that question, the further processing is not necessary. The question will be not passed to this person. If the person John, who he doesn't answer for that question will be passes to the another receiver who is called David. If after receiving the question, this David have capacity to handle that request, he is answer for that question, the further processing is not necessary. He will get another question from the quiz master. If he is not answer for that question will be passes to the another receiver, that is called Rajesh. This like the communication will be occur. This is one real time example. The quiz master will be question to the person, that is called John. The John will be answer for that question. The question will be not passes to the another person. So that will be the question will be stopped here. The quiz master again ask the question to the David. If the person who get the first question, he doesn't answer for that question will be passes to the second person, that is called David. If he had to answer that question, the processing will be stopped here. If he doesn't answer, that question will be passed to the third person. It's like the communication will be occur between the receivers or persons. We have the chained link between each other. Okay, this is called the, so it means one receiver has reference to the another receiver and one receiver has reference to the another receiver. This like the communication will be occurred. This is called the real time example. In the previous we say that one receiver, one sender will be have multiple receivers will be occurred. So this is called. So request will be sent by the John. He will be answered. That one communication will be occurred. If he doesn't answer, number of receivers will be in the communication. That is called the chain of responsibility. Next, coming to the iterator design pattern. So iterator design pattern. In this iterator design pattern, we having this pattern also comes under the behavioral design pattern too, and in this we having different classifications. Like first classification is intent. So coming to the iterator design pattern, in this we are having the intent. Intent is tells the meaning of the design pattern, and whatever the problems occur in this design pattern, it will be solved and it gives a solution to the design pattern. So in this we are having a small definition about the iterator design pattern, that is using iterated pattern we can access elements from a collection of objects in sequential manner without any need to know its underlying representation. It means whatever the elements we are having the collection of elements. In that collection of elements, we are by using the iterated pattern, we are selecting the objects one by one without specifying to the representation. That is called the iterated design pattern. If you see a small diagram, we can understand very easily. So this is the diagram we are having. Here I am having the collection. Collection is here having a collection. It is nothing but one container. In this container we are having a lot of objects. So the collection of container, that objects are, we are having 4 objects, that is object 1, object 2, object 3 and object 4. So these are the 4 objects we are having, and in this collection we are having some examples, that is list, set, array. Okay, and whatever the data structures, if we talk about the list, whatever the data structure of the list is having, that is different from set and array, and same as set has the data structure that is different from list and array, and whatever the data structure we are having in the array, that is different from set and list. That like the storing mechanism also different from each other. List have different storing mechanism that is different from set, and set also having the storing mechanism that is different from array, and array also storing mechanism that is different from set. It's like different data structures and different storing mechanism will be available in this set, list, array. So and we also having so many examples for this collection. So we are taking few examples, that is list and set and array. So if we use the iterated design pattern, by using the iterated design pattern, we can access the elements from the objects. We can access the elements from the container. Okay. Suppose if you want to access all the objects from the collection container, by using the iterated design pattern, we can access very easily one by one. By using the iterator in this collection or container, the user want to access all the objects. So if he want to access all the objects, he use the iterated design pattern. By using iterated design pattern, it will be take one by one. First object 1, next object 2, next object 3. So one by one we can access the objects from the container. So after taking the objects, we can process it. So this like the communication will be occur when we are iterating the when we are using the iterated design pattern by taking the objects from the container. So whatever the objects we are taking, that we don't have any worry about that. That internal data structure will be of the internal data structure can be visible to the other persons. So we don't worry about that. Whenever we are using the iterated design pattern, we don't need to worry about the internal data structure of this array, list and set. This is the intention of this motivation. Now coming to the motivation. So in this motivation we are having small diagram. So if you see here, whatever that we are having, this is the list. List should have to access its elements. List should have a way to access its elements without specifying its internal structure. So whatever the list we are accessing the elements, that doesn't show any internal representation or internal structure of this list. So whatever, for example, we are having a diagram here, list. In this list we are having count, append, remove. Count means we are counting how many receivers are receiving the request. That is count. Append is nothing but adding the additional elements we are going to add. If you no need to need additional elements, we will remove from that list. This like so list is nothing but list will access this list iterator. Iterator is nothing but first only I told that iterator is nothing but in one container having the collection of objects. If we want to access that objects from that list, we want to use iterator design pattern. That iterator will be used faster. First is nothing but in first position, whatever the objects will be available that can be accessed by the user. That like so, if first one is completed, it will goes to the next step. It goes to the next next object. What will we have? That will be accessed by through the iterator, and after that it will next it will be go to the next object. This like by using the iterator pattern, we will be use this first and next efficient manner. Okay, and this is called the working of this motivation by using the iterator design pattern. Okay, so list should we have a way to access its elements without exposing its internal structure. Whatever the internal structure we are having in the container, that doesn't show the internal representation. So if you want to access the all elements from the all objects from the container, we use the iterator design pattern. In this iterator design pattern, we having this list first, second, next is like so by using this rule, we accessing the objects from the container. So that is called the motivation. Also known as is the another application. So if you see the also known as, in this also known as we having the nothing but cursor. Cursor means normally we are using the system. In the system we are maintaining the cursor by using the mouse. The cursor point is nothing but the is also called the iterator design pattern. So cursor, why we are saying it is a iterator design pattern? It is selecting one by one. First we are going to select the my computer. Okay, my computer. If you select my computer, in that we have one window will be open. If one window will be open means in that we having different folders like folder E, folder F, folder C, folder D, folder C, this like. So we will be select whatever the folder we need. I will select the folder E. If we select folder E means whatever the informations or data we are having, we will select for that. This like whatever we need. If we select the Microsoft Word, we will select the first we will save our name by using the cursor. So after that we will use new page. In that new page we will whatever we are having cursor, that will be type our data. So whatever we are doing in that system, that will be done in the form of iterator, one by one after one. This like iteratively we are selecting the information from the system. That is why we are taking the example as a cursor here. Okay. So that is next coming to the applicability. Applicability is nothing but in which situation we are going to apply this design pattern. That is called applicability. So to access an object from the container without exposing the internal structure or internal representative, to support the multiple traversals, it supports the multiple traversals. That is called the applicability. This is one classification. Coming to the structure. In this structure having a small diagram. So coming to the small diagram. Next coming to the structure of the iterator design pattern. It has small structure, aggregate, create, iterator, client, iterator, list, concrete, aggregate, concrete, iterator. So this is the structure of this iterator design pattern. Here client will be give request to the iterator. Okay. So after giving the request is nothing but I told that in the collection we having the number of objects. So if you want to access that objects from the group of collection of container, so the client will be asked that element by using the iterator design pattern. He will select the first one. First he selecting the iterator only, whatever the processing will be having, that can be stored from that. So it will select the first object and given to the by the client. So after next, how many objects we are having in the container? That much the complete objects will be selected by using the iterator design pattern. So when we are selecting that, it doesn't show any internal representation or any internal data structure of that container. So whatever we need, we can access from the iterator design pattern. So client, it acts as it provides the request, iterator acts as an interface, and concrete aggregate is nothing but create iterators. It creates the iterator, and concrete aggregate. It also create the iterator. It inherits the methods from the aggregator. Okay, and this is the working of this structure. So in this structure we having different participants. First participant is called the iterator. Use of iterator is called, it is acts as an interface. Use of iterator, it acts as a use of iterator. Iterator acts as a interface. Coming to the concrete iterator. This is the concrete iterator. So if we talk about the concrete iterator, it implements the interface. It implements the interface. That is called the concrete iterator. Now coming to the aggregate. Aggregate, that is nothing but it defines the interface to creating the interface objects. Okay, it defines the interface for creating the iterator objects. So that is called the aggregate. Next coming to the concrete aggregate. Concrete aggregate is nothing but, so if you see the concrete aggregate, it is nothing but it implements the iterator. It implements the iterator creating the interface to return a instance of concrete iterator. That is called the concrete aggregate. So this is called the iterated design pattern. Thank you.